In JavaScript, there are two types of scope, local scope and global scope. Well, the scope is just a fancy word that means from where you can access a variable, from where a variable is visible. Let's start off with the global scope. So here is the rule. Each variable that is not declared in a function is a global variable. Here in my example, this var a is not declared in a function. This means that this variable is global. Global means that it is visible everywhere. You access it from everywhere. So let's console log here. So from the global context, we could access this value. Great, because it is global. Or if I create a function, also within this function, we have access to this variable because it is a global variable. Let's console log here to prove what I said. Great. We have access to this variable because it is global. So the rule for global variables, if it is not in a function, it is global. And now let's move to the local variable. The rule for a local variable is a variable declared within a function becomes local to that function. For example, here I will declare a new variable within this function. Within this function, I have access to it. But in the global context, if we try to console log this variable, it will throw an error because this variable is local to this function. You cannot use it in the global context. You cannot, for example, create another function and try to refer to this variable. It will throw an error. So a variable that is declared within a function is local to that function. Now what will happen if we declare a new variable? But that variable has the same name as the variable declared in the global context. Let's console log it from the function and let's console log it from the global context. And now we see that they are having a different result. That's because this variable is not this one. This variable lives within this function, it is local to this function, and this one is a global variable. They are living in a different context. But now when I remove this line in which we declare this variable within this function and try to console log, well, both are referring to the global variable. That's because your function sees first if it has this variable in its local context. If it does not find it, it moves to the global context. So the scope in JavaScript is an important concept. So try to create different scenarios and see how local and global variables will behave. And remember, practice is what makes programming fun and easy.